The Bears are already looking on to next year, unfortunately, but it's an exciting time as they have a lot of work to do addressing the trenches, and they're looking at several guys from Michigan at the moment to do that. Defensive tackle Mason Graham, defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, edge rusher Josiah Stewart, and edge rusher Derrick Moore are all on the Bears list from Michigan, and all of them land at different spots in the draft. So the Bears have a high possibility of drafting one, if not two of them. I'm here to break them all down today on this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears, and excited to do so. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Before I start today's show, hit that like button if you want the Bears to go all in on the trenches in 2025 on both sides of the ball, along with commenting who from this list from Michigan you'd want to see in a Bears uniform next year, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications for free. And if you do all that by liking, subscribing, and commenting on this video, you enter to win in a customized Chicago Bears jersey of your choice, which will be announced this Sunday. So let's start off with the hottest name of this list. Mason Graham, Michigan's #1 defensive tackle, a junior from Anaheim, California, standing at 6'3", 320 pounds, and only 21 years old. He is from Michigan, as you can tell, the entire list is, and is a top 10 pick at the moment, but he is the #1 ranked defensive lineman in the nation, according to NFL Draft Buzz, because he's the best that it gets, especially against the run, a spot we desperately need help with, and his stats show for that. An 89.9 out of 100 overall grade, according to NFL Draft Buzz, along with an 81 out of 100 tackling, 89 out of 100 pass rush grade, and a run defense 100 out of 100. For an interior guy to be ranked this high, especially from a pass rush and run defense perspective, is unheard of. And the scouts would have to agree. According to scouts, he has a relentless motor and agility to make him nearly unblockable. We've seen that on clip before. Constantly applying pressure and tiring out offensive linemen. Impressive hand usage as well, and strong lower body strength that allows him to shed blocks and ease up and wrap around running backs and quarterbacks with ease. And also, he can play edge or interior defensive tackle because of his size and agility, tricking offensive linemen and creating very difficult packages for them to cover. Great vision and wrap-up ability as well that doesn't allow for any broken tackles. And you can see that with his agility, a 5.1 40 time, 45 total tackles this past year, 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, and 20 quarterback hurries for an interior defensive lineman is absolutely insane, along with 10 tackles for loss, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. Kid is clearly special. He is versatile and brings a huge upgrade to a much-needed run defense, as we're ranked 30th at the moment. And his size and speed is absolutely crazy too. And I would love it if the Bears don't go with a left tackle with their first-round pick. If Mason Graham's on the board, you have to snag him. Going into my second option, where the Bears, if they're lucky, he could fall early in the second, which the Bears have, or they could trade up with a second and maybe a fourth or a fifth or something, is Kenneth Grant out of Michigan from Maryville, Indiana. He's a junior standing at 6'3", 340 pounds, and 21 years old. And he's a projected late first, early second, and when they say early second, literally the 33rd pick. He's currently the 8th ranked defensive lineman in the NFL draft. Why he drops a little bit, but this guy is an absolute monster, scoring an 87.6 out of 100 overall grade, 76 out of 100 tackling, 81 out of 100 pass rush. Again, Michigan's pass rush was insane this year, and a 90 out of 100 run defense. So if we can't snag him and move up and we go with a left tackle in the first round, this is the guy that you want to pick up, because he's literally almost just as good as Mason Graham. Big, fast, and strong. This guy reminds me a lot of Tommy Harris all over again, with strong hand usage, swatting away blockers, and absolutely dominating. A high motor and crazy pursuit speed. He's actually faster than Mason Graham, especially for his size. He is insanely good against the run and also can play in any sort of defensive scheme. 3-4, 4-3, you name it, this guy's in it, so you don't have to worry about him having major adjustment issues when coming to the Chicago Bears, depending on who their defensive coordinator is next year. Running a 4.95 40 time for a guy that big is absolutely insane, with 32 total tackles, 18 of them being solo, 4 quarterback sacks, 18 quarterback hits, and 25 quarterback hurries, along with 15 tackles for loss. This guy is an absolute monster. Better stats than Mason Graham, but that's because Mason Graham opened up a lot of opportunities for him, according to scouts as well. But this kid would be huge for this Bears interior defensive line, and if you trade up into the first to snag him, great. If he somehow falls to us, would love it. But again, we also get a third-round pick for Ian Cunningham if he becomes a general manager elsewhere. Maybe the Bears can pair some picks up and move back into the first. But I would love it if either Mason Graham or Kenneth Grant were on our interior defensive line with Javon Dexter and Andrew Billings. Now let's go over to the edge position, finding Montez Sweat, future partner in crime, and starting with Josiah Stewart from Bronx, New York. A senior standing at 6'1", 245 pounds at 22 years old, is a projected second-round pick at the moment. His scouting report, according to NFL Draft Buzz, 86.7 out of 100, 73 out of 100 tackling, 95 out of 100 pass rush, and 90 run defense. So this guy can do it all, brings great size and athleticism that is matches the modern NFL edge at the moment. Excellent speed and agility, explosive first step, excellent closing speed, high motor, and insanely high IQ, according to scouts, that allows him to constantly be on the edge of his feet and make sure he's able to make plays. Running a 4.69 40 time with 33 total tackles, 22 of them being solo, with showing he does have great tackling ability. I was a little shocked by his 73 out of 100 grade, but 8.5 sacks this past year for Michigan, 16 quarterback hits in 30 quarterback hurries, along with 10 tackles for loss and 2 forced fumbles. A big sleeper pick in this draft. I would love to snag him in the second round if we end up going with, let's say, you get a left tackle first, you get Kenneth Grant somehow with your first pick, and then you go out and get him as your edge. You address the trenches on both sides of the ball right away, because again, there still is free agency, and there's more free agent offensive linemen than defensive linemen this year. So the Bears are probably going to go a little bit more defensive line heavy in this draft, but they have to get it done, because I would love nothing more than this guy to be on the Bears as Montez Sweat's partner in crime. And then finally, a new one after having a big bowl game with 2 sacks is Derrick Moore from Baltimore, Maryland, a junior standing at 6'3", 256 pounds, and a projected third-round pick, scoring an 83 out of 100 overall grade according to Draft Buzz, with a 70 out of 100 tackling, 89 out of 100 pass rush, and 71 out of 100 run defense. A big kid, huge speed, and explosive. He is a monster, and especially in his past bowl game with 2 sacks and 3 tackles for loss, along with having crazy good speed, 4.65 40 time with 24 total tackles and 14 of them being solo, 4 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, and 15 quarterback hurries, with 6 tackles for loss and 2 forced fumbles. This guy is an absolute sleeper as well in the third round. Not a lot of people are talking about him. I expect him to move up in this draft, but I would love it if the Bears took him in, because we have 2 third-round picks if Ian Cunningham goes, but we still have a third rounder. If the Bears want to go offensive line heavy early, this is the kid that I would want to bring in, as I think that he's one of the most NFL-ready third-round picks. He's big. He'll work with Montez Sweat, and he'll only get better. And I hope that the Bears bring in a top defensive coordinator in order to train these guys, because this guy could truly be a monster. My overall thoughts here, and this is what I want to bring out for you guys, is that there's 2 different scenarios that the Bears could do here. Let's say Mason Graham does fall to the Bears at number 9 in the first round pick. You have to take him. You do not have a choice there. He is the best of the best, and he would be perfect for this interior defensive line. And also, you can play in any scheme, which is great. So you take him in the first. In the second round, your first pick, you take the top left tackle, or you trade up into the first for it. And then on top of it, your other second round pick that you have, you go out and get Stewart as your edge. So now you've addressed your interior defensive line. You've addressed your left tackle with your second pick in the draft, which is an early second, and then Stewart in the second round. Then in third, you take a center. And if you get that extra pick for Ian Cunningham, Derrick Moore is available. That means you get 3 of these guys, but you're getting a top Big Ten interior defensive line and exterior defensive line. Pretty big. But then on top of it too, if you decide to go with a left tackle in the first round, let's say you get that left tackle at number 9, you trade into the first and get Kenneth Grant to still get a player like Mason Graham still in the first round. In the second round, you get a offensive guard. And if you still have a second round pick, then you go out and get Stewart, and you take a center from free agency. There's a few of them in there, like Ryan Kelly. But overall, the Bears can do a lot here. And 1, if not 2 of these guys, or 3 of them, could be on the Chicago Bears next year. And after how Michigan's defensive line played this year, I'm all for it, especially with some of the defensive coordinator candidates we're potentially bringing in. But thank you for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below, but please like this video if you haven't already. Comment who you out of this list would want and your overall thoughts. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications for free. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.